everyone, it's Kat and I'm back today, hopefully to wrap up my search for a MAC Stereo Rose dupe. Now, if you've been following my channel throughout this year, you'll know that I was panning my MAC Stereo Rose, which was a limited edition mineralized skin finish. So this is technically a highlighter, but it's like a peachy pink, let's call it a coral shade, that I just fell in love with. And what I loved about it was, I'll show you. Look, I've got a brush. I'll demonstrate it. It's nearly done. What I loved about it was that you could put a lot on your brush. You didn't have to really care so much. I didn't have to have a mirror, which I don't have. This is just foundation. You put it on. It adds a little bit of color. It adds a lot of glow. And then all of a sudden, you've got this healthy looking face with a bit of color in it. And you don't even, you can do it like, you could do it eyes closed. Like, it was so easy, it was so simple. There wasn't so much base color that you're worried about it looking clown-like or patchy or whatever. The glow was super smooth and it just like elevated every look, every powder foundation, every normal skin, high coverage, whatever it was. It just made everything look so much more glowier and healthier, and I love it. So I fell in love with this and I've been looking for a dupe ever since. Now, I do have some videos that I'll link down below. One was me going browsing, shopping, looking for some swatches based on your recommendations. Another video was me going through my collection and looking for similar sort of colored products, textured products. So I'll have my sort of searches linked down below, but this video is me sort of wrapping up the closest ones, I think, anyway. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to swatch them and I'm going to apply a couple of them. So I'll keep this as a reference, apply a couple of them on my face. All right, so these are the 4 dupes, let's say. I just bought this one over the weekend. I haven't used it yet. It is the Bare Minerals Gen Nude Highlighting Blush. The good thing about this, the shade is Pink Glow, so it's available now in Australia at Mecca. The good thing about this is that it's a hybrid highlighter and blush in one. And one thing I found that was really hard about duping this is very, very shiny blushes often have too much base color, so it makes it look quite clownish. Again, harder to apply. You can't you can't just go in really easy and put it all over your face if you want to and look glowy and flawless. The shiny blushes had a lot more pigment to them. So I found the best place to look was actually colored highlighters. So this is a hybrid, it's a new product, so it should be fairly easy to find. I am going to demo this. It's going to be first impressions applying it, but I know from swatching it, it's very similar in color. And even though this one is a little bit shinier, I'm hoping for very similar results. So that's what I will apply on my face. The closest I found up to that point, and this one might have a better shine finish, but the texture isn't quite the same. So this is by Bobbi Brown. It is the highlighting powder in Sunset Glow. And you can see that I've used this quite a lot. The color again is very, very, very similar. The effect is very, very similar, but this is firmer in the pan, so it's much harder to pick it up. I found instead of actually just being able to go da 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 and put it on and get quite like a obvious effect, this was one that you have to sort of like scrub, put it on, scrub, put it on. And this was just one you had to build up, but you can get the same effect. It's just you need to work a little bit harder at it. So this one I really like, and I obviously have used it quite a lot, but it is not matched in terms of how it applies, if that makes sense, the ease of use. I think because the MAC one was a baked product, it is just a lot easier to pick it up and sort of like just sweep it on, whereas this took a little bit more work. The 2 others that I think aren't quite as dupey are these there's one by Nabla and one by Laura Geller. This one is baked, so it's a similar sort of texture to the MAC one, but it is a blush. So again, it's a lot more bold in color. So if you mainly just want a tiny bit of color and a lot of shine, this one is a lot more color, but the consistency is very similar. Then there's the Nabla one. This is the Skin Glazing Skin Finish Glow Powder. So again, I think this is a colored highlighter essentially. So the color is very, very similar and the high shine is very similar. This is just a lot bolder. So if you want this effect, you can go very light-handed with it. But the problem with this one is, again, if you just want to be able to throw it on really quickly and do like 2-minute makeup, this one you need to, yeah, you either are going to end up with more prominent cheeks or you need to be a little bit more careful with it, which what I liked about the MAC one was you didn't have to be careful. It was very simple. Nabla do have quite a few different shades in this range. So there's like true highlighters, there's more sort of peachy colors, pink colors. This one is in the shade Truth. So this one is a warmer pink, so a bit of a like corally pink. The Laura Geller one that I mentioned, this is a baked one. This is in the shade Pink Grapefruit. Now, you can see that it is a lot darker. So just in terms of the color, it's just a lot darker. Now, Laura Geller do have a huge range, not huge, but they have a fairly big range of blushes. So the color difference there. They do have a range of blushes. The difference is though that their baked blushes have different finishes. This one is one of the baked blushes that have like the more luminous finish to it. So that's what I was after. I was after the real shine. But unfortunately there wasn't a good color dupe in this finish. If you wanted to knock it down a little bit and go for more of the satiny sort of natural finish blushes, I think there was a closer color dupe, but it didn't have the high shine that I was after. So yeah, this one not quite the same, but in this formula they could definitely do a good dupe. They just, from what I could see, they don't have one yet. All right, arm swatch time. Let's start with the OG. So this is Stereo Rose. I'm going to blend them in a little bit so you can sort of see the color and the amount of shine that it gives the skin. Onto the new Bare Minerals. So this one looks a little bit more pigmented, as you can see, but again, you can probably sheer it out a little bit. So this is more, it is a blush highlighter hybrid. So you can see that this is predominantly a pink highlighter, whereas this has a lot more pink base to it, but you can probably get a very similar effect on the skin. Bobbi Brown. So this one, again, I think it's more similar to Stereo Rose, but it's just a little bit drier in consistency, so it takes a little bit more building up. But you can see it doesn't have as much pink as the Bare Minerals one does, so it's got that beautiful shine. All right, Nabla Truth. This is what I'm talking about, that it's more of a blush, so it definitely has that nice shine to it. It's definitely a similar tone, but it's just way more blushy. So if I was to just slap that on my face, I would be looking very, very rosy, whereas I'm looking for more of a rosy glow, not a rosy base. All right, time for Laura Geller. Again, the color is wrong, but that really soft baked texture is right. And again, this is not even all that glowy. Like, it's glowy, don't get me wrong, but compared to this just like reflects the light a lot more than that one does. So even though there might be better dupes in the blush range for this color, this is the like higher shine finish and it's just not quite as glowy. These are the closest for sure. These, you could probably get a sort of similar effect, but I wouldn't call them dupes. So again, this is the effect of MAC Stereo Rose. I'm going to put the Bobbi Brown one on this cheek just so you can see the effect of it. Again, I need to scrub a lot harder to pick up nearly as much on the brush. I have wiped this brush off. And you will see that it's not, hang on, let's see if we can get a good angle for you. You can see that it gives a beautiful effect. It's a very pretty effect. But it's just a little bit firmer. Gets there though. You just have to make sure you pick up quite a bit on your cheek. Very pretty. So MAC Stereo Rose and Bobbi Brown. All right, I've just tried to wipe off that blush and apply a little bit of powder foundation to mute any of the sort of Bobbi Brown that I put on before. I want to try the Bare Minerals one. So again, I've wiped off this brush. It looks a bit lighter in color and it picks up a little bit more densely than the Bobbi Brown one. All right, let's see. Ooh, it's very pretty. I would say it's giving a lot more pink to the cheeks. And I've just picked up a small amount, but it is very pretty. I sort of feel like this applies a little bit sheerer, so it looks a little bit more natural, whereas this can apply a little bit thicker, but it might also be that I've layered a bit on my base, but it's definitely a similar effect where there's not much blush color, It's more of a pink sheen that's really, really pretty. So I definitely think both of these are good dupes. This one's a bit more affordable, easier to find. This one I think has that same sort of sheer effect. They're both really nice dupes. I'm going to just demonstrate over the top these sort of more bold ones and show you why it's not really the same thing. So the Nabla one I'm going to apply over the top, so you can see this is Stereo Rose, and then if I was to put the Nabla one, all of a sudden we're putting a lot more pink, and that's sort of what I didn't want. I don't want a heavy, I'm even wiping a lot off my hand so I can just diffuse this. You know, if you're trying to get that glow, you also have that sort of clownish look that I don't really like on a daily basis. So if you're a big blush fan, you know, the really, really shimmery blushes do it. But if you just wanted that beautiful glow, I'm trying to wipe this off. It's a different thing altogether. I've just picked up a little bit of the Laura Geller one to show as well. So again, this is very, very shiny, but it is a different tone altogether. And it's I want to say it's a little bit too shiny in terms of like, looks almost metallic and texture emphasizing. And again, it's got a lot of base color to it. And all of a sudden, I feel like this is too much. Whereas the other ones, I think it was the right amount of cheek product for me on just a everyday basis. It gives a little bit of color to the cheeks so you don't look flat and dead. It gives a nice glowy life to the skin. But these ones are a bit OTT. So I don't like these nearly as much. To the point where I'm getting my powder foundation, I'm trying to tone them down because this is a bit too much for me. So in conclusion, if you were after a dupe for Stereo Rose by MAC, I can't find an exact dupe in terms of how it applies and the sort of softness and sheerness of the baked product. But in terms of the finish and the color, definitely the Bobbi Brown Sunset Glow Highlighting Powder is such a good dupe. I love it. I've been using it for a few months now and I keep using it. It's great. And definitely the Bare Minerals Highlighting Blush in Pink Glow is also a really nice color dupe and a finish dupe. You just might find that it's a little bit more slightly more blushy, so you might want to go a little bit lighter or use a fluffier brush to apply it, but they will give you very, very, very similar results. So hopefully that was helpful. If you love Stereo Rose or you missed out and you're like, I love the concept of it, I think it looks gorgeous, I want to try things that are similar, they're my two picks. I will link the other videos that I mentioned in the description box, as well as the names of all these products if you were interested in them. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye.